you. Good evening and welcome. This is a regular meeting of the Princeton Planning Board on Thursday, February 19, 2026. Pursuant to Section 13 of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of the time and place of this meeting has been given by prominently posting the resolution of regularly scheduled meetings of this Planning Board for February 2026 through January 2027. A copy was filed with the Clerk of Princeton on January 14, 2026. Legal notice on the adoption of said resolution was published in the January 16, 2026 edition of the Princeton Packet. Notice of this meeting also has been posted to the municipal website, princetonnj.gov/calendar. Notice that all regular and special meetings of the Princeton Planning Board will be held electronically via Zoom, was transmitted to the Princeton Packet and the Times, and was filed with the Clerk of Princeton on Tuesday, January 14, 2026. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. During hearings on applications for development, members of the public will have an opportunity to comment and ask questions. Public comment is heard by the board after an applicant's representatives have finished their presentations and have been questioned by planning board members and staff. Those wishing to comment orally should virtually raise your hand by clicking on the reactions or raise hand icon at the bottom of your Zoom screen, or if participating by phone, by pressing *9. Oral comments will be taken in the order in which hands were raised. We ask with respect that members of the public express your views in 3 minutes or less. A countdown clock on your screen will help speakers keep track of time. Please note that speakers who exceed 3 minutes will be interrupted. Inappropriate public comment containing obscenity, hate speech, or relating to matters not before the board will be muted. Justin, will you call the roll, or Deidre, or whoever is?
I will.
Great, thank you.
No problem, Madam Chair. Mr. Buddingheimer?
Present.
Councilman Cohen? Mayor Frida? Mr. McGowan?
Here.
Ms. Nuka? Mr. O'Donnell? Ms. Perlmutter?
Here.
Ms. Swimmer?
Here.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Ms. Wilson Anderson?
Here.
Chair Wilson?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. So item 2A, which is not listed on our agenda, but is a happy bit of business, is the swearing in of our new member, Linda Schwimmer. Welcome again.
Thank you.
Jerry, let's see. Linda, you received the oath. Is
Yep.
that correct? Okay. So sometimes I know it's hard to follow along unless you're looking at a copy of the text.
Yeah.
Jerry, would you do the honors, please?
Linda, if you could raise your right hand. And then if you could just read the copy that you've gotten of the oath of office.
Sure. I, Linda Schwimmer, sincerely profess and swear that I do and will bear true faith and allegiance to the government established in this state under the authority of the people. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of the office of Princeton Planning Board Class 2 member according to the best of my ability and understanding.
Okay. Sworn, so sworn, and you're now a member of the board. Congratulations and welcome aboard.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's great. It's great to have you. Next up, we have announcements. Any board members or staff have announcements to make? Okay, I just want to point out to the board and also to members of the public who are in the attendees room that we'll take a break at roughly 9:15 of 10 minutes or so, and we have a hard stop at 11 o'clock. So that's just FYI. Any other announcements? Not seeing any. Okay. Subcommittee reports. I know that the site plan subcommittee met today, but also know that given that Mr. Cohen is chair of that committee and would normally be giving the report, I don't know whether anybody else who's on the committee who was there might want to report out. If not, we can.
I can actually speak on behalf.
Okay.
So for the site plan committee, this was the Hobson connector between Wu Hall and Hobson College. It was an enlargement of a connected hallway that included the addition of a meeting room and a pantry and just a few other light rooms. So it was very confined to the rooftop, and there were some HVAC enlargements as well. So it was deemed by the group, it was voted as minor site plan classification and request to approve the plan from you as and the board.
Okay. Okay, good. Thank you. So we're moving on to ordinance referrals. We have 8 of them on the agenda. I think we are skipping one of them, item G, as I understand it. There you are, Justin. Hi.
Hello.
I will turn it over to you to start us into these ordinances. I'm sorry. First, let me just say for members of the public, we will invite comment on these ordinances. The business before us tonight, of course, is master plan consistency. The hearings that take place on these ordinances take place before council. So when we hear your comments tonight, we'll swear people in, but this is not a public hearing that we're conducting tonight on these ordinances. We will be conducting a public hearing on the Princeton Eating Club application later on. Okay, Justin.
And again, just to emphasize what the chair said, the only purpose is for the board to determine whether the ordinances are substantially consistent with the master plan.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will reiterate a little of what I said last week for these ordinance referrals that you have before you. This is the second of 3 meetings where you'll be reviewing ordinances for master plan consistency, and it includes the majority of ordinances for our 4th round housing plan element and fair share plan, before our March 15th deadline from the state to adopt all ordinances for that plan. These ordinances are for rezonings and overlay districts that allow for the realistic opportunity for the construction of affordable housing, plus one at the end is a modification of an existing overlay. Like Jerry just said, and like the chair said prior, the board's task is to review the ordinances for consistency with the adopted master plan, which does include that 4th round housing plan element and fair share plan that you saw back in June. Regardless of your determination of consistency, these ordinances will then go to the council for hearings at their next meeting on Monday. Turning to the ordinances, the first one may look like deja vu all over again. I'm going to summarize the memo that Nathan Foote and I published with a revised date on February 13th. Ordinance 2026-01 establishes the Affordable Housing District 10, AH10, on one lot at 245-247 Nassau Street. The board reviewed this at the last meeting and found it was substantially consistent with the master plan and recommended approval of it. The council then amended the ordinance at their meeting on February 9th. So that's why we're doing this again. Basically, everything is the same as the last time, except the council made a change requiring the commercial use of up to 3,300 square feet on the ground floor. The way it was written last time, it didn't necessarily require it, but that was always the intention of the ordinance and also how the concept plan for the site was shown in the 4th round housing plan element in the appendix that I showed last time. And just as a reminder, this is the site that's roughly across from Hoagie Haven and behind J Cycles over there. And this change really just solidifies what we've done with other affordable housing mechanisms in the past, like some of the affordable housing overlays where you've seen applications come through and they've been required to have commercial on the first floor. The AH10 ordinance otherwise allows 95 multifamily apartment units behind the commercial space and on the upper floors. At least 20% of the residential units are required to be designated as affordable housing, with no less than 18 affordable units. The maximum height is 5 stories and 65 feet. And I could go into the other bulk standards if you'd like, that we talked about last time, but I know we do have a lot to cover tonight. It's still our opinion that this ordinance is substantially consistent with the master plan for the same reasons that we mentioned last time and that we will probably mention a couple more times tonight. First and foremost, this was called for in the housing element and fair share plan. And it also meets many other goals of the master plan that was adopted by this board in 2023, including the land use ones, mobility ones, utility ones, and natural resource conservation goals that come with an in-town infill project. And I'm happy to take any questions you would like or go into more detail. I summarized that a little because we had the discussion last time, but I'm happy to expound upon any of it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Questions from board members for Justin? Not seeing any. Sorry, moving over to the participants area. We have 9 attendees. Would any of you in the attendees room wish to address the board about this ordinance, this minor change from the ordinance that was already found to be consistent? Not seeing any hands go up, so I will close the public comment and invite any final thoughts about this or a motion to find the ordinance substantially consistent with the master plan and recommend approval.
So moved. Or seconded.
Thank you, Mr. McGowan and Mr. Botigheimer. Call the roll, please, Deidre.
Certainly. Mr. Botigheimer,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Ms. Perlmutter,
Yes.
Ms. Swimmer,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson Anderson,
Yes.
Chair Wilson.
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you. Next up, we have, I didn't read the whole first ordinance. I'm going to do that starting now. Sorry if I confused things. Next up is the ordinance 2026-03, an ordinance of the municipality of Princeton amending chapter T10B entitled Land Use, the municipality of Princeton, to create the Affordable Housing District 15, AH15, in furtherance of the Fair Housing Act. Justin?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This is another ordinance that was introduced on January 27th, but then it was reintroduced due to a substantive change that was made. The board did not hear it at the last board meeting, however, since we knew about the change beforehand and pulled it from the agenda. This ordinance establishes the AH15 Affordable Housing District on one lot at 457 North Harrison Street. And I could show a map from Appendix N of the master plan to show the location of this site. North Harrison Street runs this way. The shopping center and the Alice building would be off screen to the lower right. The affordable housing that was created in the third round, the senior living, is also to the east, I suppose that would be, and the Avalon housing over there as well on Thanet Road.
So this is right where Bunn Drive peels off.
That is correct. The charter school is right here at the triangle.
Right,
Yeah.
great.
The lot is currently developed with an underutilized office building with extensive surface parking, which you can kind of see under the red. And it is located in the OR2 office research zone of the former township. This ordinance would allow for up to 191 multifamily apartments on this within this zone. At least 20% are required to be designated as affordable, with a minimum of 40 affordable units required. And those would count towards obviously our fourth round plan and the overall number that we need. The 40 unit requirement was inadvertently left out of the introduced ordinance due to a drafting error, and that was the cause for the reintroduction. For those that could do quick math or maybe have a calculator in front of them, 40 is more than the 20%. So that's why we wanted to make sure that that was in there. So we're getting that one extra unit on this one. The maximum building height that would be allowed in this ordinance is 5 stories and 65 feet. The maximum impervious coverage is 80%. 1.5 parking spaces are required for each residential uses, and those can be on surface lots or in enclosed garages. And actually, I can show the concept plan that we have in the appendix to show roughly where the building would be in this thicker black outline. And this is the first floor where there would be garage parking, but also you see some surface parking in front of the building and to the rear of it. Access will be from this new 2-lane road off of North Harrison Street, which also includes a pedestrian walkway, I believe, next to it. The dual use path on North Harrison Street will stay as we continue to put North Harrison Street on a road diet and make it pedestrian friendly. This ordinance also recommends that the developer seek a cross-access easement to the senior housing development adjacent to it off of Thanet Road, and that's this. This is not exactly where things will go, but we're hoping that there can be some sort of connection to that already developed senior affordable housing that ends up leading out to Thanet to make these less like disparate sites and more connected. We can't require that of the applicant because or of any future developer, because it would require cooperation with the other site that they don't have control over, and it would also require probably variances before this board from some of the banked parking requirements that were here on this green space. So that just still remains to be seen. But it is included in the ordinance to send a message that we want that to happen. So again, we find this ordinance to be substantially consistent with the master plan. It is included in the fourth round housing plan element and fair share plan. And it also meets master plan goals to create more housing in Princeton in different forms available to different income levels. It meets mobility goals to reduce inbound commuting by providing in-town housing. And it meets utility and natural resource conservation goals by redeveloping an already developed parcel. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Can you tell me how the 65-foot height limit, how does that compare with the height that's allowed and has been built over on the Avalon Thanet project?
That's a good question. I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head, but part of the reason that was developed the way it was is because these are large lots where the buildings can kind of be sensitively placed, and they're not necessarily overlooking any neighborhoods or anything like that. So I don't know those off the top of my head. I would imagine probably.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to spring it on you.
No
But
problem.
it occurred to me as you were talking. And I'm really glad you mentioned that connection, which would be a vehicle as well as pedestrian connection between those two neighborhoods, and really make it one neighborhood. And it wouldn't necessarily need to be just that one place, right? I mean, could there be another connection maybe further up directly?
Certainly.
Instead of to the senior, to the instead of to Pearl to the Avalon Bay too? Or instead, it just could be either or both, or potentially neither if there's no willingness on the part of the neighboring property owner to operate.
Yeah, I think at the very least we can, during the site plan review, make those recommendations to any sort of developer for pedestrian access, including even potentially to the Church and Dwight building. The specific call out here for the cross-access easements is really to talk about vehicular access to those other ones. So it's not set in stone where it's going to be, but that's something that I think it would be clear from this ordinance that the council wants. Through your endorsement, it'd probably be clear that you want that, unless you say otherwise. And that's a pretty strong message to any future developer.
Thank you. Other questions for Mr. Lesko? Seeing none, I will invite attendees, of which there are 8. If any of you would like to address the board about this ordinance, now's the time to virtually raise your hand. Okay, not seeing any, so would someone like to make a motion to find this ordinance substantially as consistent with the master plan and recommend approval, noting our enthusiasm for the pedestrian and circulation connections between this and neighboring sites? Mr. Taylor.
So moved, and I recommend approval. It's consistent.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Ms. Anderson. Ms. Battle, would you call the roll, please?
Certainly. Mr. Boddingheimer,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Ms. Perlmutter,
Yes.
Ms. Swimmer,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson Anderson,
Yes.
Chair Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next up, we have ordinance 2026-04, an ordinance of the municipality of Princeton amending chapter B17A entitled Land Use and Zoning of the municipality of Princeton to create the Affordable Housing District 8, AH8, in furtherance of the Fair Housing Act. Mr. Lesko.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This ordinance establishes the Affordable Housing District 8, like was just mentioned, which would be comprised of one lot at 145 Witherspoon Street. Those who have been on the board since 2021 would have remembered this property. It received an approval. There's currently a 2-story office building north of part of the cemetery. Off of Witherspoon Street, and they received an approval for to increase their office 5 years ago, and that just never happened. And the lot still currently contains a 2-story office building that has not been occupied for a number of years now, and it has associated parking in the rear. It's located in the RB Residence Business Zone of the former borough. And it is also in the AH07, I believe, currently. And in this 4th round plan, the AH8 zone would allow for up to 25 multifamily residential apartment units, with 20% of them designated as affordable, with a minimum number of 5 affordable units. Retail sales and service businesses are required on the ground floor. So similar to that 245 Nassau one we just discussed. So then the commercial would go behind those and above them. And
the residential would go behind and above.
Excuse me, the residential would be behind and above. The maximum permitted height is 4 stories and 50 feet. The maximum impervious coverage is 97%, which I know sounds very high. But is similar to the existing impervious coverage that's on the site. Per the proposed ordinance, no off-street parking is required for the first 5 residential units, with a half a parking space required per unit after that, which is pretty similar to what we've seen in our 3rd round affordable housing mechanisms, like the overlays. No spaces are required for commercial uses, which again is similar to what we saw in the AHO 1 over on Nassau Street in North Tulane. And the maximum front yard setback is 10 feet to bring the property, the building closer to the front of the property. As for master plan consistency, we found that this is substantially consistent with obviously the fourth round plan because it's in there, but also many other goals of the Princeton master plan. Again, that Princeton needs more housing, especially at different price points and in different styles. To enhance the existing pattern of land use in town, particularly by strengthening mixed-use centers like we see on Witherspoon Street. The mobility goals of the plan include, again, reducing that inbound commuting, and utility goals and natural resource conservation goals are met by repurposing an existing developed site. So I'm happy to take any questions you may have, Madam Chair.
Okay.
And I could show
questions?
the image if you'd like to. Sorry about that.
Sure, yeah, I think it would be good. I mean, I walk by this all the time because I live right in the area, but not within 200 feet. As you can see, it's bordered to the south and to the east by the cemetery. And while, maybe not everybody wants to live next to a cemetery, it's actually very, very beautiful view from those dwellings. So at least those that face south and east. And it will, as will so many other projects along Witherspoon, further activate that corridor, which will be nice to see. Okay, so I'll stop talking. Other questions or comments for Justin before I invite the public? Okay. For those of you who are in the attendees room, of whom there are now 7, if any of you would like to speak to the board about this ordinance, now's the time to virtually raise your hand. Not seeing any, so I will close the public comment. Invite any last thoughts or a motion. The motion would be I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was about to move approval of whatever it is you're about to say.
Finding the ordinance substantially consistent with the master plan and recommending approval.
Exactly.
Second.
Was that you, Mr. McGowan?
It was.
Okay, moved by Mr. Bodegheimer, seconded by Mr. McGowan. Ms. Battle, would you call the roll, please?
Absolutely. Mr. Boddingheimer,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Ms. Perlmutter, Ms. Swimmer,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson Anderson,
Yes.
Chair Wilson.
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you. Next up, we have ordinance 2026-05, an ordinance of the municipality of Princeton amending chapter B17A entitled Land Use and Zoning of the municipality of Princeton to create the Affordable Housing Overlay District 9, that's AHO 9, in furtherance of the Fair Housing Act. Mr. Lesko?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And I will share the map that was included in your packet and from the fourth round plan on this one. This ordinance would create Affordable Housing Overlay 9, comprised of the 6 lots that you see here in red. These lots, Nassau Street is to the south, North Harrison Street is north to south next to the lots. And these include currently a medical office fronting North Harrison Street, as well as the building housing the Whole Earth Center grocery store, the restaurant site next to it that's currently being renovated, and 2 house structures that were probably built as houses that have been used as commercial space recently. This is an overlay district, which is slightly different from the rezonings that we've just seen in those other ones. So the underlying zoning would stay what it is today. And that underlying zoning, let me just verify. I believe it's a combination of the neighborhood business and residential business, if I remember correctly, on these sites. This overlay would allow for up to 130 multifamily residential apartment units. And this ordinance also requires commercial uses on the ground floor, fronting Nassau and North Harrison streets, with residential uses behind those commercial uses and above them. And that would be above them in a stepped back way in the ordinance, almost like a wedding cake or a layer cake. There are different requirements in the ordinance for how tall the building can go based on how far it is from Nassau Street and North Harrison Street. There are also setbacks that can't be built, that there can be no building in, particularly to the north near Queenston Commons, and to the south to be in line with some of the other structures that are there. I should note that this is outside of the designated Jugtown Historic District, but obviously very close to it as you approach on Route 27. The proposed ordinance requires a minimum lot area of 75,000 square feet to use, and it allows for multiple buildings per lot. So we do expect any development to be done together, because 75,000 feet is just below the totality of these 6 lots. The maximum impervious coverage is 90%, and 0.75 parking spaces are required for each residential unit, and 1 space is required for each for 400 square feet of commercial use. However, this ordinance does allow for 50% of non-residential parking to be met through a shared parking assumption. So essentially, we can double count the spaces based on those requirements that I just mentioned. And landscape buffers of 15 feet in width are required, except in one location. I believe that is to the Harrison Street Garage site, which you will see next week with another another ordinance there. And in our professional opinion, this ordinance is consistent with the master plan. Again, it is in the 4th round housing element and fair share plan. As stated before, Princeton needs more housing, especially at lower price points, and particularly in town. And a land use goal is to enhance the existing pattern of land use, particularly around mixed use centers that currently exist. Mobility goal includes reducing inbound commuting, and those utility goals and natural resource conservation goals look favorably upon an infill project of an already developed lot. And as you see in this picture, not just on this site, but in the vicinity, there is a lot of asphalt right now. So these certainly are developed sites. Thank you.
Yes, I mean, I dare say it is darn near 100% impervious. There's a nice little tree well in front of Whole Earth Center. I can't think of any other. Well, there are some trees just in the vicinity of the corner property that was just approved for a new project by the zoning board. Questions for Justin from board members? Mr. McGowan?
Yes. In the ordinance and in most of the ordinance, there is some language. It's in the required income restriction area. There's a D there. What I'm asking is, what they put in there is you can't go, even if the full complement of units are not built, you can't go, well, you can't change the number of affordable units. I mean, it's specified. And I didn't see that in this section. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, and so I think what Mr. McGowan is pointing to is what I mentioned about the 245. one, for example, that extra line that says, even though it's 20%, here's a minimum number required. The reason we don't have that in this one is because this is an overlay district. And that's due to the complexity of the parcels and potentially ownership of those. So while we have it in our plan for a set number of units that we expect to come from there, if this were developed, it would be required to do 20% of whatever number are in there. Whereas the other ones, which are actual, are specific rezonings, we have that minimum number, which essentially determines the maximum number of overall units. This one, because it's an overlay, we're not necessarily determining the maximum number of overall units.
Or
Okay.
a minimum number of required affordable units?
That's correct. Yeah, through this ordinance, we're not doing that.
Right. Does the master plan, probably should know this before asking the question, but the master plan assign a certain number of affordable units to this overlay zone?
Yes, it does. And I do know the number. Just pull that back
So
up.
it's our obligation as a municipality to make sure that one way or another, all of that entire number of affordable dwellings assigned to the overlay zone get built. Is that accurate?
We include the numbers in our plan, and it is our responsibility within 10 years to meet the overall number.
Okay. Okay. So, Alvin, does that get at the question you asked? I know it might not completely satisfy your concern if there was an underlying concern. I don't mean to jump to conclusions, but
No, yeah. I mean, it's just said that was in the others. So
yeah,
why
yeah.
wouldn't it be included here? It seems like it's 130 units for this location, or maximum. That's what you have listed.
That's correct. Yes. Total.
Yeah.
Yeah, but because it's an overlay
Yeah.
and
Right.
multiple owners of multiple lots and properties, yeah, harder to make that judgment. Freddie Perlmutter?
Yeah, my question is for Jerry, and I think I may have asked this once before. Jerry, I live in Queenston Commons, but not abutting this development on the other side on North Nassau Street. I don't know whether I'm within 200 feet or not. Can I vote?
Your unit is not within 200 feet, although
I don't know where 200 feet. My unit is on Nassau Street. Whether it's within 200 feet or not, I don't know.
I think the best bet would be not to, or did you get? I guess you would not have.
Did I get no? You don't get notice,
would
I
not
think,
get
for this.
notice.
No, I didn't get any notice for
Yeah,
this.
no, there would not have been, since this is just a referral to the planning board for consistency review. Yeah, I think maybe it would be better if you did not vote.
Okay.
Thanks for asking, Freddie. Okay, if there are no other questions about this ordinance from board members, I'll invite members of the public there. Chris Sturm has her hand raised, so if you will bring her over, and any other members of the public who wish to speak to the board about this, please raise your hand now. Not seeing any others. Good evening, Ms. Sturm. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mr. Mueller, I'm
Oh, yeah.
sorry to interrupt. Mr. Mueller will swear you in. Go ahead, Jerry.
You can raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes, I do.
Just sworn or affirm. Please state your full name for the record and spell your last name.
Sure. It's Chris Sturm, Sturm as in Mary.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to testify. I believe that this whole earth proposal is consistent with the master plan, largely the shift to walkable, bikeable transportation, as well as the goal for walkable integrated neighborhoods as opposed to developments that are surrounded by fences but adjacent to each other. And I think you have an opportunity here to kind of move the ball forward a tiny bit in that regard. I have previously walked from Queenston Commons into the Whole Earth Center because there is a fence that separates the two properties, but it has a gate which is often open. It was open today. And I'm sure people like Freedy walk up and buy their groceries. And I would hate to see this new project forestall that opportunity, which could easily happen. It's not an official path in its entirety, so I don't know the details. There's also another connection, pedestrian connection from the property to the adjacent bank site, which I know is not available for development now. It would be a great redevelopment opportunity if it were. At present, there's a gap in the fence between the two properties of about 15 feet, and there's another very clear desire path there. So, you know, I think this is, regardless of how you address this, whether you amend the ordinance to like encourage pedestrian connections, or you put it in the notes and highlight it to council. This is a really, in my opinion, an important opportunity to help Princeton move towards integrated neighborhoods that are woven together in the way that they used to be built back in the day. And, across the country, we've gotten away from that. So I wanted to provide that to your attention. I think it is a consistency with the master plan issue. And again, an opportunity to both improve this Whole Earth site, as well as to improve the experience of people living and shopping, people living nearby who shop there. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Thank you. And I agree. Are there other attendees interested in addressing the board? I'm not seeing any, so I'll close public comment portion. I saw, Nat, you have a
Yeah,
thoughts?
I just wanted to say that I agree too. I've also walked through that fence, and it is a great way to be able to get there, another alternative route. So
Mm-hmm. Good. Thank you for that. Any other thoughts, comments, or a motion on 2026-05? Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Schumer, I did not see your hand up. It faded
Oh.
into the background there.
I know, I have to do something about that.
That's all right. No.
No, I just wanted to comment that I really appreciate Chris's comment, and if it's possible to make that amendment to the ordinance proposal in the same way that there was similar language in the last one about the neighborhood, not making it mandatory because of all of the property owner issues. I'm wondering if we can do that, and I would like to move that if we could.
Yeah,
I know exactly how to phrase it.
Okay, yeah, I think we can. And the ordinance can be amended in a second reading, because it's not an ordinance which is so substantial that it would need a reintroduction.
Okay, so that would be you're saying that would be a change to the ordinance potentially, if it were embraced by council, that would not require reintroduction of the ordinance? Because that's key.
Yes.
Right.
Right. We need to keep that in mind, that we're in a very tight time frame.
Yes. Yeah. Mr. Lesko?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I think it's a great idea, and I think it's something that we're going to look into every opportunity for any of these future sites that come up. And as you'll see from some of them next week too, like the John Street DPW site, there certainly should be an opening in the fence to go to the former Packet building. Those are the kind of things that we would call out during site plan review, whereas this reciprocal access language in the other ordinance specifically mentions vehicular circulation. So that might be the difference here. You certainly can make a recommendation to use that same language. However, it would it would also include vehicular, which I don't think is what anyone wants here. Or you can make a general recommendation, whether it's in the ordinance or not, to again send a message when we come back to this any sort of application here for any future developers to know that the board is already thinking about this.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't use the same language for just the reason you gave, as the vehicular aspect of it. But you can suggest language which says the ordinance should be modified to require pedestrian connections between Queenston Commons and the property in question, the site in question.
Okay.
The only concern with that, I guess, depending on that language, if Queenston Commons said no, then the project wouldn't happen by the zoning, and then we would have an issue with our fourth round plan. You know what I mean? So I think we would have to use kind of should pursue to the maximum extent practicable, like we put in the other one.
Yeah, that's good. I like that, Justin.
And strongly encourage.
Well, it's more than strongly encourage. It's what Justin was just suggesting that they should do it if it's practical to do so, and which means secure the consent of all parties involved, and maybe there's other issues as well that we're not even aware of.
Yeah, and not just the existing, maintaining the existing access points.
Exactly.
But others as well, because the same would probably be true of the new corner project as well.
Yeah.
Freddie Perlmutter?
Yeah, as a Queenston Commons resident, and I'm not voting, I don't know if I'm allowed to comment, but I have used that path many times. To call it a path is really, I mean, it's not really a path. I mean, there happens to be some open space among the trees, and there's you can kind of go up and down it. The fence, there's no fence, the fence is open though. There's no question about that. But to call it a path is really, I'm not sure you really can call it a path. I mean, you can walk your way through it.
Yeah.
Nor am I have no idea whether the development, I suspect they would not be opposed to it either, but I have no way of knowing that. I certainly have.
Yeah. It's an access point though. I park near it all the time.
Yeah.
I know exactly that. I know exactly.
But it's not. I mean, you can trip over roots. You can, you go up. It's not a path.
Okay. Nat?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that, I understand what Freddie is saying. I mean, there is a term of art in the planning profession or the design profession, a goat path, and it is a path is a path that is worn, and as Chris Storm said, it is clear evidence of a desire line. I mean, it is beaten down. It is evidence of, whether it's a paved, safe, smooth ADA path. This is going to become a definition of what a path is. But I do want to note that it's, the things that Chris said. And
yeah. Okay. So I'm certainly hearing enthusiasm overall, and I think we need to trust Justin when he makes the writes the memo with our assuming we approve and find this substantially consistent and recommend approval with adding language encouraging the retention and expansion of pedestrian connections to neighboring properties to the maximum extent practicable. Is that work, Mr. Muller?
It certainly works. I'm not even sure we need to say retain. It might be that there are better places to have the
okay, sure. Yep.
You have the issues that Freddie was talking
Point taken. Right. Yeah. Okay. Would someone like to make a motion to that effect? Oh, well, actually, Ms. Schwimmer, you already did, didn't you?
Yes.
Thank you.
Affirm the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Claudia. Ms. Battle, would you call the roll, please?
Certainly. Mr. Boddingheimer,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Ms. Swimmer,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson Anderson,
Yes.
Chair Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next up, item E, ordinance 2026-06, an ordinance of the municipality of Princeton amending chapter B17A entitled Land Use and Zoning of the municipality of Princeton to create the Affordable Housing Overlay District 11, AHO 11, in furtherance of the Fair Housing Act. Justin?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And one thing I just want to note that I just realized, these ordinances are in order of when they were introduced at council. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 3, 4, 5, I should say. But the names or the designations of each are obviously not in order. We're jumping around 10, 15, 8, so on. And that's because we wanted to keep those in line with what is in the master plan, regardless of when we finish them or introduce them or anything like that. So if you're wondering why we're going to 11 right now after just doing 9 and after doing 15 earlier, that's the reason why. So
Never even crossed my mind, but I'm not a linear thinker, so.
yeah. So the ordinance 2026-06, as the chair mentioned, would establish the Affordable Housing Overlay 11, comprised of 2 lots, and I'll show Appendix J in a second. And the 2 lots are at the corner of Spring Street and North Tulane Street. Oh, I just raised my hand instead of sharing my screen. As you can see in this image from that appendix, it's the 2 lots. One previously housed Cobb Cycles, which has since unfortunately gone out of business, on the corner. And the other is with the address 4042 North Tulane, which I think this board knows well from a affordable housing overlay approval that ultimately they cannot use, and then a subsequent 4-lot residential approval. And now this overlay. This overlay would the lots would still retain their underlying zoning. One of them, the Cops lot, is CB Central Business, and the 4042 North Tulane one is RB Residence Business Zone. And they would still have the current Affordable Housing Overlay 1 on them, in addition to this new Affordable Housing Overlay 11 for the time being. The overlay would allow for up to 40 multifamily residential apartment buildings, and this ordinance 2 requires commercial uses on the ground floor fronting Spring Street only. So the cop side, and it permits commercial or residential uses on the ground floor fronting North Tulane Street. At least 20% of the residential units are required to be designated as affordable, with a minimum number of 8 affordable units, so kind of different from the AHO that we just saw. The ordinance requires a minimum lot of 0.3 acres, which means that these would, I think they can be, I would have to double check if they would have to be developed together or if that's been changed. But it also allows for multiple buildings. The ordinance creates a stepped maximum height depending on the distance from Spring Street. So it could be the tallest at Spring Street, and then it steps down twice towards as you go further up North Tulane Street. A half a parking space is required for each residential unit, and no spaces are required for the commercial uses. And the parking can be on surface lots or in enclosed garages. No landscaping buffers are required, but landscaping is required as planters and as street trees. And 1 facade sign of 20 square feet is permitted per lot. In our opinion, the ordinance is consistent with the master plan. Again, it's directly in the 4th round plan. And as I've stated earlier, in the plan, we state how Princeton needs more housing in different forms and at different price points. The land use goal of increasing the existing pattern of land use, and especially in the center of town and in the central business zone. And the mobility goals of allowing for a more car-free lifestyle and less inbound commuting, and the utility goals and natural resource conservation goals of accommodating future growth in infill sites while minimizing adverse impacts to the natural environment. So that being said, Madam Chair, I'm happy to take any questions you might have.
Okay. I do not have any questions myself. Any other board members have questions for Justin? Seeing none, I will invite attendees. If any of you wish to address the board about this ordinance, now's the time to virtually raise your hand. Not seeing any of those. So would someone like to make a motion finding the ordinance substantially consistent with the master plan and recommending approval?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Alvin McGowan. Is there, and seconded by John Taylor. Deidre, would you call the roll, please?
Certainly. Mr. Boddingheimer,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Ms. Perlmutter,
Yes.
Ms. Swimmer,
Yes.
yeah. Okay, Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson Anderson,
Yes.
Chair Wilson.
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you. Next up, we have ordinance 2026-07, an ordinance of the municipality of Princeton amending chapter B17A entitled Land Use and Zoning of the municipality of Princeton to create the Affordable Housing District 12, AH12, in furtherance of the Fair Housing Act. Justin?
Yep, thank you, Madam Chair. And I will share the map on this one. This ordinance establishes, and this is from the appendix in the fourth round plan, Appendix K. And this ordinance is comprised of 2 lots and would create the Affordable Housing District 12. The 2 lots are at 8688 Spruce Street is the one to the left, and 9294 Spruce Street is the one to the right. Both of these lots are in the R4 residential zone of the former borough. And just to kind of place where these are, Westminster Choir College is to the north of them, past Barbara Bach Sigmund Park, and Spruce Street is the kind of front of these, although these are nearly through lots, but not entirely. The 8688 Spruce Street lot currently contains a 3-story multifamily apartment building and an associated parking lot. This is one of those buildings that I love to mention on Spruce Street. You walk by and, it looks like a big house maybe, and then you count the mailboxes, and I think there's currently 10 units in there. And then the other parcel is developed with a 2-unit structure. And the properties are surrounded by a mix of residential uses in the tree streets. The park to the north, it's hard to tell, but it actually does extend along the lot, and it's currently encumbered as Green Acres playground space on that remnant lot that was created when Hamilton Wiggins Robeson was kind of rerouted years ago. The AH12 district would allow for up to 30 new multifamily residential apartment units, and at least 20% of the new units are required to be designated as affordable, with a minimum number of 8 affordable units. The proposed ordinance allows for multiple buildings with a separation of 5 feet, and it really envisions keeping those existing 2 buildings. And I could show a concept plan that we expect there will be some deviations from, but generally speaking, and Spruce Street is at the top of your screen here. The Green Acres part of Barbara Bach Sigmund Park is at the bottom of the screen. And as you see here, what is proposed is I believe this is a 20 unit apartment building here,
Hmm.
and then another smaller apartment building that may end up only being 3 units. A building in the front to look like a single family home, but it may have up to 4 units, and it may be supportive housing, which is allowed in this zone. And then the 2 existing buildings that I mentioned earlier. The ordinance requires a publicly accessible multi-use path through the property, so you will be able to cross from Westminster up towards Spruce Street and further on your way up to Nassau Street. Again, there's a Desire line there now through the parking lot, and I think that's what gave the property owner the idea, as well as the town officials. That would have to be open to the public, and I believe it would have to be 6 feet in width. So you might be able to ride a bike on there too. The ordinance permits a maximum height of 45 feet and a maximum impervious coverage of 75%. 0.425 parking spaces is required for each dwelling, and up to 25% of those spaces may be compact. And a landscape buffer of 5 feet wide is required where a side yard is required. So adjacent to the neighboring properties, not to the lot line that currently exists. And there are signs that are allowed in the ordinance, and I'd be happy to go through those as they pertain to the pathway to show that it's publicly accessible, and then facade signs on the larger apartment building, and address numbers where other doors may address Hamilton, Wiggins, Robeson Street, whatever it is at that point. I think it's Hamilton at that point.
It is Hamilton.
Until it's not anymore. But at least at that point, it's Hamilton.
It's Hamilton for quite a ways there.
Yeah,
longer than Wiggins or Paul Robeson.
Certainly.
So, I'm sort of embarrassed I didn't ask this about earlier ones, but is it our and pardon me if it's already in the ordinance and I overlooked it. Are there bike parking requirements laid out as well, and they need to meet those?
Yes. Generally speaking, or I think all of the ordinances just refer back to our underlying bike parking that was adopted not too long ago, which requires both covered parking and other parking, out in the open.
Great.
That's a good question, though.
Thanks. Okay. Other questions for Justin from planning board members about this site, this ordinance? Seeing none, I will invite attendees. If any of you, there are now 6 attendees. If any of you are interested in addressing the board on this ordinance, please raise your hand right now. Not seeing any, so we will move on. Any final thoughts, questions, or would someone like to move that finding this ordinance substantially consistent with the master plan and recommend approval? Was that you, Mr. Bodenheimer?
It was.
Okay. And a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Alvin. Ms. Battle, would you call the roll, please?
Certainly. Mr. Bodenheimer,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Ms. Perlmutter,
Yes.
Ms. Swimmer,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson Anderson,
Yes.
Cheryl Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. So I think, Justin, that item G, ordinance 2026-08, we are skipping.
That's correct, Madam Chair. I received word from the council today that there will be a substantive change to this, and they will have to reintroduce at their meeting on Monday. And then we will review this along with, I think, 3 or 4 other ordinances at the next planning board meeting on the 5th.
Okay, good. Then our last ordinance to review is ordinance 2026-09, an ordinance of the municipality of Princeton amending T10B-272.146, affordable housing overlay 4, AH04, Site Development Regulations of the Code of Princeton, New Jersey, 2013.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This one is a little different from all the other ones that you saw, as stated in the title. This ordinance would amend the existing AH04, Affordable Housing Overlay 4, that was created as part of our third round of affordable housing. If that does not sound familiar to the board, that's because you have not seen any applications in that overlay area. And we as staff have not had very many conversations with people that are interested in developing up there under that affordable housing ordinance. So that's part of the reason we're looking to make this change here. There are 26 lots in the northern part of Route 206 or Herrontown Road that are included in the AH04. And yes, Madam Chair, do you have a question? You're just on mute.
Thanks. Can you show an aerial or something that identifies this whole
Certainly.
overlay area?
So you can see on this zoning map that we have up here, in the red is the S2 service district underlying zoning. It's a little hard to tell, but within the green line is the AH04. So it's basically the S2 service district minus this one site that is, I believe, right across from the Mavis Tire. It's a single family home, so that's why it wasn't included. Why it's in the S2 zone beats me. But anyway, this is the existing AH04 that we're talking about.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And like I said earlier, no developments have been created using the AH04 since its adoption in 2020. The proposed ordinance amends that AH04 in two ways. First, it increases the maximum building height from 45 feet to 50 feet. And this is actually a direct recommendation from the master plan in 2023, which states in the land use section a recommendation that says, quote, AH04 district standards amend the height limit in this overlay zone in the northern area of the municipality off Route 206 by the Montgomery border to permit development up to 4 stories. And then the second change is this proposed ordinance deletes one section in its entirety. And that section requires a minimum of 300 cubic feet of storage space for each residential dwelling unit. And then oddly, it requires them to be on the first floor or below grade. And that's odd for really two reasons. The first floor asks for or requires commercial space. So you wouldn't necessarily want to subtract some of that out for this residential storage. And secondly, requiring it below the ground floor level is not really possible for at least more than half of the parcels in this overlay. The Van Horn tributary runs from the Montgomery border, essentially where my cursor is. It's channeled by that clock building, but then it's daylighted north and south of it. So of the people that we've talked to about developments in this area, whether it's in the service zone or in the AH04, they always relay the Department of Environmental Protection's issues that they have in that area, not even if they want to dig down, but also just if they want to build near that tributary, but especially if they wanted to dig down. It basically is not an option. So again, to have that in this zone just really doesn't make any sense because of the conditions on the ground. That being said, that requirement is not in any of our affordable housing overlays from the third round or any of the ones that we've discussed tonight. You might expect to see something like that if there were going to be really small apartments, maybe in the center of town, to give the tenants some more space. That's not necessarily what we're envisioning up here either. So I don't really know why we included that in here, but I do know that is one of the things that may be impeding any development in this affordable housing overlay. So based on all of that, in my opinion, because I wrote this memo, sorry, Nathan. The ordinance is consistent with the master plan. It's a direct recommendation of the land use element of the master plan. And other land use goals include removing barriers to increased residential density, while also protecting and restoring environmentally sensitive features and natural resources. I mean, I think in an area like this, we'd rather see that tributary daylight it in the spaces where it's not than we would want to dig down near it. And one of the key findings from community input in the introduction section of the plan is, like I said earlier, that Princeton needs more housing, especially at lower price points. And the mechanisms for that housing creation that have not created housing should be revisited. And then obviously this also meets utility goals and natural resource goals of accommodating future growth in already developed parcels like we see here. I think the most glaring one being the one next to the Bottle King that has been developed in the sense that it's compacted and there are, depending on the time of year, there might be trucks on it. There might still be the billboard from the previous approval. But we know that that site has had some DEP issues and these certainly don't help. And I would imagine that's the same for other sites where you do see properties that are maybe vacant right now. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Good. Well, I'm very glad that we're removing, barriers that, crystal clear to anybody redeveloping this in this area. Questions for Justin from board members? Claudia?
Hi, yes, thank you. Justin, can you explain the availability of public transit in this area?
Sure. I believe there is an NJ Transit bus line. I can't remember if it's the 605 or the 606 that goes all the way up to past the ShopRite. I see Louise, you have your hand.
605.
605. Okay.
I was doing 5, not
Okay.
raising my hand.
Yeah. If you were doing 6 on one hand, that would be a problem. There is the NJ Transit bus that goes from north of the ShopRite in Montgomery, and I believe that's the one that might go all the way to Hamilton through Lawrence to where there are some of those big box stores over there. I believe the municipal loop bus, as it's now called, also goes in this area. I don't know if it directly, I see Jim putting his camera on. It does, and I think Jim had an anecdote about people in Montgomery saying, hey, can you put a stop by us? So that's being used as well. And with some of the recent development that we have had up there, like the Bottle King or the approved Galaxy Tile across, we have been requiring properties up there to put in pedestrian infrastructure. And we have also, or are in the process of upgrading some of the pedestrian infrastructure up there ourselves, like one of the crosswalks across. So,
right, and we're working with DOT on that. I think I've seen that in the town newsletter. Yeah.
Yep, I see more nodding from Jim.
Yeah. Good.
I don't want to speak.
Okay.
I haven't been sworn in.
Oh, yes. Raise your hand, Jim, because it's now or later.
Swear or affirm that testimony you're about to give will be the truth.
I do.
Just want to affirm. Please state your full name.
Yeah, the loop bus does traverse the area. Currently, we've just added a stop at 900 Herrontown, which is the residences on Herrontown, which is 100% affordable housing. And we are putting in a rectangular rapid flashing beacon at Herrontown Road at Route 206 to cross over from Herrontown to with the Galaxy Tile area, where we're also improving the sidewalks on that side. We'll be extending the sidewalk up to meet, almost meet the sidewalk in front of Bottle King as well.
So I'm curious, for the people who are Montgomery residents asking for it, are those people living along Blue Spring Road toward the west end?
They are right off Mount Lucas Road where it meets Princeton Avenue.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, I'm not arguing that we should be going outside of Princeton and picking people up, but if we're bringing them into Princeton to spend money at Princeton Shopping Center or downtown, not a bad thing.
Yeah,
But
we
they could
can't-
walk down to that. There are connections, pathway connections all the way to Herrontown, right? So they could.
Yes, they can now walk just over to the residences at Herrontown and catch the bus. We cannot stop in Montgomery. It is a municipal bus confined to the municipal boundaries. So
Good.
and paid for by the taxpayers of Princeton, not the ones in Montgomery.
Got it. Okay. Other questions for did I already go to public comment on this one? I don't think that I did. No. Okay. So, looking at the attendees, there is one person with their hand raised here to speak about this ordinance. The person is identified as Vihan, Vihaan. If you could bring that person over. And Vihan, if I've got your name right, could you activate your camera and unmute yourself? Thank you.
If you could raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes, I do.
You sworn or affirm, please say your full name and spell your last name.
My last name is Desai, Desai. It is not the name on the screen. I'm using my son's computer.
Okay, and your first
Okay.
is B-I, okay. Oh,
And your first name?
My first name is Dipali, Dipali.
Okay, great.
thank you.
Go right ahead.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. I represent today three parties, Housing Initiatives of Princeton, Princeton Grows, and myself as a resident. From all of us at Housing Initiatives of Princeton, it's not for this ordinance, but all the ordinances that have been discussed. We support the building of affordable housing as guided by the fourth plan. We believe that healthy communities are the ones in which all people can afford to live, and that equitable housing is a key pillar to support working families and the town's healthy economic and social structure. As Princeton grows, similar message, we really support affordable housing. And as a resident, I'm really intrigued by all these ordinances and the careful attention that is being paid to the details, including the fact that it is inclusive and not separated in a town area, but we're building it and incorporating it into the town, and as well as the mixed use nature of it with retail and residential together. I think it builds for very healthy communities. So I really do want to thank the board for that.
Well, thank you, Ms. Desai, very much, and thanks for volunteering. It takes a village.
Yes, it does.
Okay, any other comments from attendees? Not seeing any other hands, so I will close that little window. Final thoughts from board members, questions? And if not, would someone like to move that we find the ordinance substantially consistent with the master plan and recommend approval? Anyone?
I will find that we find this ordinance to be in conformance with the master plan and recommend approval.
Thank you. Thanks, Claudia. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Ms. Perlmutter. Ms. Battle, would you call the roll, please?
Certainly. Mr. Boddingheimer,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Ms. Perlmutter,
Yes.
Ms. Swimmer,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson Anderson,
Yes.
Chair Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Good. Thank you. I'm glad to have moved through those so efficiently. Thanks, everybody. And thanks, Justin. I know this was quite a heavy lift for you and the staff, and glad to have you back, Mr. Foote.
Likewise.
I hope Egypt was great.
It was, thank you. But yeah, glad to be back.
Okay, great. Moving on to our application. We have an application of Cannondale Elm Club. This is preliminary and final major site development with variances at Cannondale Elm Club, 21 Prospect Avenue, Block 49.01, Lot 3.01, Zone E2B. And it's file number P2525-692P. Mr. Lesko, you want to start us off? And those of you who are here on behalf of Cannondale Elm can activate your cameras, and once Mr. Lesko is finished setting the table, we'll swear you all in at the same time.
And Madam Chair, I see Mr. Boddingheimer's hand up.
Oh, sorry,
No,
Nat. Hi. Yep.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just curious. I don't know whether this is a university related item or not, and therefore something I need
Yeah,
to
the
use
eating
from.
clubs are independent, but
I just wanted to check because sometimes
yeah.
they're.
Mr. Muller, do you have an opinion about
Yes,
that?
I don't think there's a conflict for the very reason.
No conflict. Okay. Unless you were a member of one of these clubs. Okay. All right. I know it's all one club now, but it hasn't always been that way. Okay. Good. Thanks. Justin?
If I may, Madam Chair, Justin, we've gotten all the papers with respect to notice and
Oh,
correct.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, and they're all in order, and the board has jurisdiction.
Yes.
thanks, Mr. Muller. I even had a note to myself about notice and jurisdiction, and you guys just have to keep me between the ditches on that one. Justin has his hand raised.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes, I do.
Just sworn or affirmed.
Thank you. And thank you, Madam Chair. I'll give a brief summary of the February 13th planners memo that our planner Tyrone Carter and I co-wrote, and just set the stage, and then I'll hand it over to Mr. Casey and his team. And I'm going to start out by showing the NJ GeoWeb map created by the NJDEP, which is publicly accessible. Should we make this PB1, Jerry?
Yes.
Great. The property in question is in the center of your screen at 21 Prospect Avenue. It is in the, first off, it's an eating club, as was stated already, at 21 Prospect Avenue. And I believe that eating clubs are independent of the university, and the building is also owned by the club, not by the university. The property is in the E2 educational zone of the former borough. And the surrounding parcels are also in the E2B zone. And those include other eating clubs to the east and west along Prospect Avenue, as well as university uses to the north and south. The one to the south includes a parking lot for the newly constructed ES&C's project. This parcel is in the locally designated Prospect Avenue Historic District. However, the Historic Preservation Commission chair and officer found that review by the commission was not necessary since the improvements cannot really be seen from the street. That being said, I'll turn over to the club and their attorney to show all the improvements they are proposing to the building and an associated parking lot behind the driveway. I'll hold comments from our report until the end, as the applicant may cover them. One thing I do want to note is that there were some technical issues with the green building checklist. The responses were in a drop-down menu that you would have to click to see the full answers. But then the document was scanned, so we were not able to obviously see them. That digital document was recently provided, but I believe it was after all the reports were done or when they were nearly being finalized. Another thing I want to note is that My office got the documents to the Environmental Commission much later than we normally do, and through a Herculean effort by them, they managed to get their report done. But that being said, I don't believe they were able to see the green building checklist before they published their report. And also the applicant did not get that report until earlier this week. So there's just a little disadvantages all around on that part. That being said, I'll hold those comments to the end. And Mr. Purcell and Ms. Gribben are also here to cover their engineering and zoning report. Thank you.
And Madam Chair, there's a point of order. The application was deemed complete, subject to approval of some waivers of the site plan checklist. They are in my memo, and staff recommends that the planning board approve those waivers. They were truly not applicable to this type of an application.
Okay.
Jim, let me swear in. And who else will testify possibly on behalf?
Taylor Gribben, our assistant zoning officer, might testify, and I think that's it for staff. Although, is that correct?
That's
Justin?
correct.
Okay.
If you could both raise your right hand. You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give be the truth.
I do.
I do, and the testimony I just gave.
Okay, go ahead. That's wonderful. And if you could just state your name for the record.
James Purcell, acting land use engineer.
Taylor Gribben, assistant zoning officer.
Thank you.
My time?
Yes, sir. Mr. Casey, welcome.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the Planning Board for your time tonight. I'll try to be as quick as possible. We're here tonight, as Justin said, for preliminary and final site plan approval and one variance for parking for the property located at 21 Prospect Avenue, which is Cannon Dial Elm Club. This is a second floor extension or addition of approximately 1,368 square feet above the loading area for increased kitchen and servery for the club, which will result in approximately 50 additional seats. At first, I'd like to have the club representative who's here tonight answer a couple questions and give a little bit of background. So if you could, Jerry, please swear in Charles Freyer.
Yes, if you could raise your right hand.
Right.
Swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give be the truth.
I do.
Just want to affirm. Please state your full name and spell your last name.
Charles C. Freyer, Freyer.
Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Freyer. Thank you for being here this evening. If you could you tell the board your relation to the applicant owner tonight, Cannon Dial Elm, please?
Certainly. Good evening, Madam Chair and board members. I am the chairman of the graduate board, which is essentially the board of directors of Cannon Dial Elm Club, Inc.
And he is the second after my father was the grad chair of Cannon Dial Elm. So
for many years, yes.
I had an in to the job. So Chuck, if you could please explain to me the number of members that we have at Cannon Dial Elm currently.
Currently, we're at about 215 members, including juniors and seniors.
Okay, and within the building itself, within the structure, how many bedrooms are there?
10.
And there's a kitchen area, correct?
Correct.
And we're here tonight to expand the kitchen area and the servery where the undergrads eat.
Well, the servery is the serving area. It's to expand the kitchen, the servery, and the dining room to add about 45 to 50 seats in the dining room.
Okay, could you talk a little bit about the staff that works for Cannon Dial Elm, please?
Sure. We have a total of about 10 people working 2 shifts because we serve 3 meals a day. So the early shift comes in around 6:30 and leaves right after lunch, and then later in the afternoon the evening staff comes in, prepares the evening meal, which runs till about 8:30 to 9, depending on athletic commitments of the members.
So at any given time, there could be 4 or 5 staff
Correct.
within the building?
Correct.
And could you talk to us about the existing parking that's at the property?
We provide parking for the staff. The parking lot itself is leased, the large parking lot behind the building is leased to the university for its parking. But we provide parking for the staff in the area and the area adjacent to where the construction will be. So the part of the parking area is not affected by the addition. Part of it is, but part of the reason for it being a second floor only addition on pillars is to preserve some of that parking for the staff.
Okay. And have you encountered any issues with staff parking in
No.
terms of, enough spots or like anything like that?
No, there's always excess space.
Okay. And Chuck referenced the lot behind Justin that is owned by the university. It was originally owned by the club, and the club approximately 15 years ago sold that lot to the university, and in turn took back a parking easement on that property, and then the university in turn pays the club X amount of dollars for use of parking in that lot. So it's a little complicated. It was a Svengali move by the founders of Canon and my father to actually sell the lot to the university, and the university in turn rents back their own parking spots. So I only reference that in terms of the parking application and variance request tonight, as and Chuck, correct me if I'm wrong, that lot is able to be used by people visiting Canon Club on weekends, reunions, special occasions, correct?
That is correct. The only reason it happened the way it did was the university's parking needs changed as it expanded.
Since we're talking about the site in this way, can we look at an image?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, are you going to have a PowerPoint presentation or
Yes.
something
Yeah,
that okay, you can point that out when we okay, fine.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think when we have our engineer talk, he'll pull up his map.
Okay.
Access, Chuck, delivery wise, how do trucks make deliveries to Cannon Dial Elm?
We have a driveway that stretches from Prospect. It used to go down to Ivy Lane, and then they built the new large environmental sciences building and reconfigured the Ivy Lane access. And by agreement with the university, we now have bollards at the Prospect Avenue. They're removable, but bollards there to prevent access from that side, and all vehicular access for trash removal, for parking by the university staff, trash removal, deliveries, all comes off of Washington Road and follows the reconfigured Ivy Lane and comes up the driveway from the rear.
Okay, and if need be, those bollards could be removed and they would go right out to Prospect,
yes,
correct?
They can be removed, but the reason for that is that the university does not want delivery trucks any more than absolutely necessary up on Prospect, causing traffic issues. So they want everything to come in off Washington and up through the university property.
Okay. I have no further questions for Mr. Fryer at this point. So if we could.
So Bob, you're
Yep.
not going to ask any more questions about how your father worked out that deal 15 or so years ago?
I think it's best I think it's best we don't know the details of that.
Exactly. So
Plus, we do have that hard stop at 11.
that's exactly right.
Just a
Offline,
quick
Jerry, I'll fill you in.
a quick point of order on that. For our members that may have conflicts based on university relationships, does that, Jerry, affect their ability to vote?
No.
That there is that really okay. Got it. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, Nat asked about that but at the time we weren't talking about the deal with the university and the cross access and all that stuff. So yeah.
We are a separate New Jersey corporation with no ownership by the university.
Okay.
Thank you, Chuck. I'd like to call Russ Smith, please.
Mr. Smith, Mr. Mueller will swear you in.
Okay.
And then we'll, if you're the engineer, we'll hear your qualifications and all of that. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Jerry.
You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to hear will be the truth?
I do.
That's sworn or affirmed. Could you please state your full name for the record?
Yes, Russell Smith, Smith.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening, Russ. If you could you tell us where you work, please?
Yes, I'm president of Hopewell Valley Engineering. I've been practicing engineering since 1983. I'm a licensed professional engineer and a professional planner in the state of New Jersey.
Have you testified before this board before?
I have many times. My most recent project that's closest to this site is the Charter Club project, which is wrapping up construction.
I offer Mr. Russ Smith as an expert, please.
We accept your qualifications. Thank you.
Thank you.
Russ, do you have the ability to, we have the one exhibit. If we could share.
Yeah, let me try to share it.
Okay.
I think
While
I can
you're
do it.
doing that, you mentioned the 10 bedrooms. Are those occupied by club officers, or is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
Madam Chair. There are 10 officers from president down through various specialties, and they all occupy a bedroom in the building.
Okay.
So they're all undergraduate.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
All right, Russ. If you. Yep.
Go ahead, Bob. I just have 2 slides. Do we want to mark this as A1?
Yes. Well, yes, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I believe these were submitted to my office for our file. These haven't changed since they were submitted. Excellent.
That's correct. What we did is we produced these 2 slides using the drawings that were submitted to the board and are under their review. I'd like to first use slide number 1, and I'll zoom in so we can see this a little bit better. So we first just have an aerial photograph just showing the general area of the site, which is marked in red on the aerial photograph. It shows Prospect Street on the north side of our site. To the east is the Quadrangle Club. To the south is the parking lot that Chuck was talking about, which is right here. I'm circling it now. To the west is the Tower Club. Our driveway runs on the easterly side of the building and down into that adjacent parking lot that Chuck was describing for access. We have those temporary bollards, or removable bollards, I shouldn't say temporary, removable bollards right at Prospect. This is the existing survey of the site, showing the existing conditions. This shows the existing club building. I'll describe what these colors mean. The red is walls. The light and dark grays are sidewalks, walkways, driveways, both stone and paved. Obviously, light green is grass, darker green are trees and shrubbery. We've identified where the existing parking is for the staff today. This is a gravel area that I'm circling now, an existing gravel parking area which has enough space for 5 cars. Currently, they park 3 more cars in this area. So that's how we came up with an existing total parking of 8 spaces. This area is kept open for deliveries as it exists today. So there is a few extra spaces here today, a few more than what we're going to end up with on the proposed plan. And I'll explain that by using slide number 2. This shows a site plan. The colors are the same as what we described from the existing plan, with one exception. We show the proposed building addition in this darker brown. It is a 2-story addition, as Bob and Chuck described. The lower level is going to remain for access. It will include a couple areas. So the ground level will have a storage unit, which is right in this area. It'll also have a dumbwaiter vestibule area in this area. So that's going to be underneath the upper layer or upper level of the structure. So vehicles can drive in and access and deliver items to the club in this area here. As Chuck said, it's supported by posts, the upper level. The posts and walls are here in this corner and in this corner. So the second level is going to include the new dining, servery, and kitchen areas. So that'll be on the upper level of this structure. The parking, you'll remember that the existing site has 5 gravel spaces. So those spaces will remain in this design. We're going to delineate them with wheel stops, so you can see that there are 5 spaces. We're adding an accessible space because we want to provide this accessible access to the lower floor of the structure. So that's going to be striped on the pavement that is already there. This is already paved. This darker gray is pavement today and will remain pavement. We anticipate that this will get beat up during construction, so we show a dashed limit of pavement, of new pavement that will occur once the structure is constructed. So we'll have 6 spaces total after construction, with one of them being an accessible space. As Chuck testified, there will only be 4 to 5 staff on site during the day in 2 shifts. So this existing parking is adequate for that staff, and that's how we made sure that we had enough parking for our staff. And as I said, this accessible space will be used by alumni and visitors that need to get to the first floor. So we see that as an improvement. Roof runoff from this structure will flow in the same direction as it does today. This area drains to the south. There'll be a roof drain from the roof area, which will just discharge onto a splash block, and that'll flow to the south. I wanted to go through the zoning. It is a conforming use. We only have 2 variances that we want to talk about this evening, and they both involve parking. So they're bulk or C variances. The first is for the total number of parking spaces. And I just wanted to say that we did meet with the township staff before we prepared the plan to make sure that these calculations are something that they would consider and agreed with. When I worked on the Cap and Gown Club and Charter Club, was always an issue of how to calculate the number of parking spaces that was required for these sites, because most of the eating clubs don't have parking in a typical fashion for a building. And as we know, that the students don't have cars, so they don't need parking spaces. The Cannon Club's policy is to provide parking for staff only, which we do. But we did this exercise. We went through the calculations. We used one space for every 5 seats, which is based on our dining hall. We currently have 132 seats. That would require 27 spaces. We're adding 50 new seats. That'll require 10 additional spaces. So using that calculation, that says that 37 spaces are required. And that kind of just gives you a yardstick, but it really doesn't apply necessarily here, because that's not how things are done. The students ride bikes, and I'll talk about bicycle parking next, but we only need 4 to 5 spaces for our staff. But a variance is technically required, and we are asking for that variance. It's B17A-343. Bicycle parking, and I believe I did it the same way on Charter Club. It's 1 space for every 20 seats. So if you go through that same exercise, 132 seats require 7 bike spaces. The additional 50 seats require another 3 spaces. So 10 spaces are required. And the site has 5 bicycle parking posts, which will support up to 10 spaces. So we have what's needed right in front of the building on our property. There are spaces out in Prospect, bike spaces along Prospect on both sides, but based on the calculation, we don't need to rely on those. And there's been information from the client that they really aren't, even the 10 spaces we have aren't really used that much. And finally, I want to talk about the other parking setback requirement. I saw this in your planner's memo. It's B17A-387C. It requires a 4-foot setback for parking. So what that does is it creates a variance situation for this parking in the existing parking that's in the rear. We were not moving this, and we didn't want to take out a space to provide that 4 feet. There's only 1.4 foot of setback here. So technically that requires a variance from B17A-387C. And that came right from your professionals' memos. I wanted to go through the governmental approval list, and then I'll jump back and talk about the variance proofs to kind of finish up. But when looking at the recommended government approvals in the engineers and zoning memo, I really would like to request that those not be part of a condition in this resolution. And the reason being is that it's pretty clear based on the requirements of the different agencies that this project will not trigger the need for those approvals. Timing on this project is important to us. We need to keep it moving. And a lot of times when you have to apply for these letters of no interest or letters of no jurisdiction, you end up really taking a lot of extra time that we really don't have. So I wanted to go through testimony on the record about why each approval isn't required. And I think I think your staff and the board will understand why we really don't want those to be a condition of the approval. First is the Mercer County Planning Board.
Mr. Smith, I'm sorry to interrupt.
That's okay.
Louise Wilson here. Jerry, do you have any, before Mr. Smith goes through all of that, do you have any sort of on principle issues with omitting those from, okay, all right, so
None at all.
I just didn't want Mr. Smith to waste his time if you were going to come afterwards and say,
Yeah,
no.
And
Okay.
for the reasons he gave, if it looks like that it's quite clear that they're unnecessary, it's just a real waste of county money and time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And
Good. Thanks, Mr. Muller. And Jim?
And Madam Chair, we routinely put those in, and I think that Mr. Smith's testimony will satisfy that requirement.
Okay.
We just need to get it on the record.
Perfect. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity. Mercer County Planning Board, those types of site plan reviews occur and are required when a site is on a county road or it drains to a nearby county structure. So we don't have either of those issues or those conditions for this site. So a Mercer County Planning Board site plan approval would not be required. Mercer County Soil Conservation District is required when soil disturbance exceeds 5,000 square feet. The area that I identified in here, which could qualify for soil disturbance, if we rip out all the pavement, we may just mill and pave. That doesn't count as soil disturbance, but let's say we rip all this pavement out and repave. That's only 1,700 square feet. So the only soil disturbance on this property would be 1,700 square feet. Here, we're just going to install wheel stops for these 5 spaces. And this is just striping. So that approval would not be required for this site. Delaware and Raritan Canal Commission, this one's a little bit more complicated, but we are in Zone B. Only major projects in Zone B are reviewed by the commission. And a major project is one that adds a 1/4 acre of new impervious. So that's 10,890 square feet. We don't add any new impervious surface. It's also a project that disturbs 1 acre of land, 43,560 square feet. We only disturb 1,700 square feet. And then finally, a major project could be one that disturbs a 1/2 acre of existing impervious, 21,780 square feet. We only have 1,700 square feet. So we're way below the various thresholds. DNR Canal doesn't miss a chance to get you, but those 3 things don't apply in this case. So we would not need their approval. And finally, I think the last one that was in the memo is the SOAR department. From a construction standpoint, we're not constructing anything new. There's no new laterals. There is a existing lateral that's underneath this addition. Of course, we're not building anything on the first floor, so it can remain. We did painstakingly identify where this was by doing test pits. So we know exactly where it is because we didn't want it to be anywhere near any of our supports for the building. So it will not have to be removed or replaced or connected to in any way. So from a construction standpoint, the sewer department wouldn't have anything to review from the site plan part of it. So since none of them are really close calls, we would just like to ask that they not be made a condition of approval. And Jim,
Russ, just for the record, you're not adding any significant flows to the sewer system, correct?
I don't believe that we would be, no.
Thank you.
All right, I'd like to jump back and just go through the variance proofs, and then we could
Hey, Russ,
touch upon.
Russ,
Yeah.
before you do that, could you just talk quickly about garbage and where those bins are located? If you don't know where they are, I know where they are located. Just in case that question comes up, because it often does, is the
You mean
dumpsters for the site.
The dumpsters in the parking lot, is that what you're talking about?
That's correct, yeah.
Yes, yeah. In fact, we have it, we do have it labeled on our drawing.
Yep.
Existing trash and recycling area, right in here.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, as we said, the two parking variances are C variances or bulk variances. And they are existing conditions. We mentioned that no club members have cars, so the parking really isn't required for them. Staff parking is covered based on Chuck's testimony. And we're also adding an accessible space, which does cause us to lose a regular space. So, but we feel that's a worthwhile trade-off because we want to provide access to the lower floors. So we think the variance for parking and deviation from the zone plan and zone ordinance will not create a substantial detriment to the public good. Furthermore, the proposed plan versus what is already on the ground will have no impact on neighboring properties. The purposes of the municipal land use law will be advanced by the proposed deviation for parking, and the benefits will substantially outweigh any detriments. The following purposes of zoning will be advanced in our opinion. 40:55D-2A, it'll enhance and promote public health, safety, and general welfare. Purpose C, the deviation will provide adequate light, air, and open space. Purpose I, it'll promote a desirable visual environment. And purpose J, it'll promote the conservation of historic sites. So we do feel that both variances can be granted. I'd like to spend the last few minutes just going quickly through through your professionals' memos and just provide responses where it's appropriate.
Before you do that, Mr. Lesko has a question or comment?
Sure.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And agreed on the variances. To be completely honest with you, if those weren't part of this application, this probably would have been done administratively. But that's a comment. My question is the existing trash and recycling area. I'm guessing that's part of the existing easement agreement that you have with the university. I see a thumbs up from. Yeah, great.
That's
Thanks.
correct.
That's all.
All right, let's start with the February 13th planning memo. I jumped to page 3 and comment 3. So the answer to that is the unit that you see is actually an existing refrigeration unit that will be relocated, and our architect's going to testify after me, and he'll explain where that ended up. But it does have to be moved, you're correct. On number 4, we talked about the parking, I think, and I think we answered these questions. That the parking is intended for staff, and we will have 4 to 5 staff members on site at any one time. And the other engineering item was number 7, talked about the bike racks and as I said, the 10 bike spaces or the 5 bike posts are located in front of the site. I did look at the February 16th Environmental Commission memo. They asked a question about the stormwater management, and I think that what we propose is actually an improvement over what we have today, because we are covering some existing driveway areas with our elevated addition. And the water that's running off of that elevated addition is roof water, which is clean water compared to driveway water. So that's an improvement.
And is that, Mr. Smith, sorry to interrupt, is that water flowing over land, or is it delivered directly into a pipe?
It flows over land.
Great.
Yeah, and just like the driveway does today.
Okay.
And it'll run actually across the lawn before, off
Good.
the pavement and then across the lawn. So
that's what you want to see. Thank you.
yes, exactly. All right, and then the final is the engineering and zoning report.
Mr.
On
Smith,
page 2.
Mr. Smith,
Yes,
can you stay with the Environmental Commission report?
sure.
Just in terms of their comments in the executive summary about the lighting fixture, do you want to comment on that?
Our architect can address the lighting fixtures,
Okay. fine,
Jerry.
fine.
Yeah, they're actually on the building. They're not site lights.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm jumping to the engineers and zoning report dated February 17th. On page 2, we talked about both variances. On page 3, under H, we talked about the bike racks. And we have the 10 on site, so I think we addressed that. I at the bottom, Chuck did testify with the items, some of the information I think that the staff is looking for. Justin, I don't know who you want to what you want us to do with this, but Chuck did testify that there's 215 members, 10 bedrooms, and then there's 50 additional new seats added to the 132 that exists, so we'll have 182 seats maximum. And then there's 10 staff on 2 shifts. And I think they were the data that you were looking for in the comment.
Yes, I believe that was in the engineering and zoning memo. So I would imagine.
Yeah, that was Mr. Purcell and.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Jim, I don't know if you wanted to talk about that at this point.
The point of this comment in our memo is is really direction to the planning board on what they need to do, because it is incumbent on the planning board to determine what parking requirements should arise when we don't have specific regulations that cover the uses that are in the eating clubs. And we've had this discussion on other eating clubs that have come before the board before. And we also, the bicycle requirements, we don't have building types that fit into the categories. And based on the testimony that's been provided by both of the applicants so far, both of the professionals so far, we don't have any objection to what is in existence today and what they're proposing. But it really is incumbent on the board to determine what requirements should be met.
And if I could just take my soapbox real quick too, we are working on our zoning code rewrite right now. And part of that might include taking these independently owned eating clubs out of an educational zone, maybe not putting them into a single family home residential zone, but possibly finding something in between because of the concentration of these really unique buildings in one area.
Yeah, I can vouch for that. I've worked on Cap and Gown and Charter Club and now Cannon, and it always is a tough issue to resolve. And it seems like that those three clubs anyway are very similar based on what I've seen is that they don't have a lot of parking, and typically the parking that they do have is really just for staff because students ride bikes and walk primarily, so they don't need parking. And there is parking on Prospect too, but I think that you could probably create a requirement for an eating club that would fit.
For the board's knowledge, you have not seen those applications that were just mentioned, even though we've had quite a few of them over the past couple of years, because they've gone to the zoning board due to a floor area ratio requirement in the zone. So that's just why you haven't seen those. It's not like there are use variances going around or anything crazy being asked for. It's more, small additions like this one or for ADA access, but they're coming up against this floor area ratio requirement that luckily the Cannondale Elm Club does not have to deal with tonight, or they wouldn't be here.
Right, we missed out on that because we have over an acre of land. That's the cutoff. So we have 1.14 acres, and if you have less than one, then you end up at the zoning board, which we did for Charter and Cap and Gown.
So,
right,
just so I understand, Jim, are you suggesting and or Justin that in addition to considering the variances, both of which seem very reasonable, we need to sort of affirmatively set, use this as an example to set
No, you're
good.
You're not going to be setting a standard.
Good.
You're not going to be
all
setting
right.
a standard. You're going
It's
to be
just-
determining whether or not there's sufficient parking for motor vehicles and bicycles on this specific application.
Roger. Got it. Thank you.
All right, and then I'm on page 4. Number 2 talks about the delivery process, and I think Chuck described how that works now. And then on page 5, under additional staff comments, we can certainly submit a construction cost estimate as a condition of the approval. And item 2 is the permits that we talked about, and we'd like for them not to be conditions of the approval. That's all I have.
Thanks, Chuck. Thanks, Russ.
Great. Yep. Thank you. And sorry to interrupt you so many times, but I think ultimately it probably went faster.
Not a problem at all. I'm glad you interrupted.
Okay. Mr. Casey?
Could I
I'm
sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, Jerry?
I just want to ask Mr. Smith a question again. It's not entirely clear to me what's on the ground floor. You've indicated some of it, and you indicated parking for, I think you said alumni and guests. Are deliveries going to be made in that underground space?
Yes. So let me just go over it again. There's actually we're actually building out some of the space under the second floor. What we're building out is the dumbwaiter enclosure, which is here. We're actually building out an area that will be storage. And then this area will be open for deliveries. So when they back the truck in, they can run the deliveries into the building this way.
Yeah.
This will be the loading zone for the access, the accessible access. Then this is the accessible parking space.
Okay.
So someone that uses this space will get out and also go into the door.
Just to explain, the food preparation, refrigeration, and food storage areas are all on the ground floor. and that will not change. So deliveries come in from the driveway area across the same level and are stored in the building, and then the dumbwaiter will be used to propel the prepared food up to the kitchen and serving areas.
Okay. Now, I thought Mr. Smith had said something about in that lower level we're talking about, that visitors and alumni could come in as a way of getting access to the house, to the clubhouse itself, first floor. Did I misunderstand that?
That would be true only for handicapped people coming from the parking area on reunions and other days when the parking area is available to us to use.
Okay, fine. Thank you very much.
Ms. Perlmutter, Freddie, you have your hand up? You're on mute still.
I
There you go.
do. I wanted to go over some of the environmental issues here, but I think that we were told that the lighting, well, one of which was the dark sky lighting fixtures, was going to be addressed by somebody.
Yeah, Mr. Smith said, or maybe it was Mr. Casey, that the architect will answer that. I know I also wanted
Yes.
to make
Some other
sure that we
issues
address
also,
the
but
bird
that
safe
question's also,
glass
but that
and
was
the,
one of them.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Could you finish your thought? I was interrupting you. You're on mute, Freddie.
Okay. I'm having trouble lowering my hand here because of the drawing. Okay. Did I get that? No.
You did, and then it came back up. Okay.
Okay.
All good.
No, I'd rather wait until he does his presentation, and then if I have other questions, yeah, on behalf of the Environmental Commission, I will ask them.
Great. Great. Ms. Wilson Anderson?
Yes, thank you. Does the university prohibit student parking at the eating clubs?
Yes. Because the lot is leased to the university for its use during the week and on weekends, except when on specific occasions, homecoming, reunions, and the like. But there's an extensive contract with the university about our access to the parking, the large parking area in the back.
So
They
this
have
is
no-
consistent really with all of the eating clubs, that the university prohibits parking at them and that the parking is limited, and it's limited for staff only or deliveries.
They only care about the large parking area that they have leased and keeping us from using that. What we do with the parking spaces in question here are not part of the lease to the university. They are ours. So they are only concerned about the large parking area behind the club, which they use for their staff, except on the specific designated occasions. And as far as alumni goes, on all other occasions, alumni are directed to park in the university high-rise garages, again, to keep traffic off of Prospect.
Thank you.
Can undergraduates have a car?
Yeah. I mean, undergrad, if I may pipe in here, it's Carl Pettit, Cap and Gown Club. And
Mr. Pettit, you'll need to be sworn in if you're.
I'm sorry.
So which you were welcome to do, but you need to activate
Okay.
your camera and get sworn in by Mr. Muller.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Okay.
No problem.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
I do.
So sworn or affirmed. Please state your full name.
Okay. So some of the eating clubs do have parking for their club members. Like Cottage has a lot along Ivy Lane, as does Ivy, and Cap and Gown and Charter. So where parking spaces can be afforded to a certain degree, the club members, usually the officers of the club who have cars, can park there.
But otherwise, students that have cars have to park them in the university garages.
Right.
Not again, they don't want extra cars in the Prospect Street area.
That's true.
Right, and it's your testimony that Cannondale Elm does not permit student parking in
Correct.
these spaces that we're talking about right here? Yeah.
That's
Okay.
correct. Yeah.
All right. Just want to make sure that's clear. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Russ. And I'd like to call Charles Chichester, please. He's here, Charles. Where are you?
I called Charles and he was unable to see his link to the
Charles Chichester is in the attendees room, so
there he comes.
someone can bring him over. Here we go. Mr. Chichester, you need to activate your camera.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you could
So Mr. Muller will swear you in and you'll say your first name and last name and then spell your last name and then we'll get your qualifications.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth?
Yes.
Plus sworn or affirmed. And then
Yep.
if you could give your
Yep.
full name.
Yeah. My name is Charles Chichester. My last name is spelled Chichester.
Thanks, Charles. Charles, could you tell us where you work currently?
Yes, I currently work for Mills and Schnoring Architects in Princeton.
Could you give me what's your role at your architect firm?
I'm a project manager here.
Okay, and could you give us a little bit of your educational background, please?
Yes, I have a bachelor's degree in architecture from Cornell University, and I'm licensed to practice architecture in New Jersey.
Did we know that we hired a Cornell guy to be our expert here? I mean, geez, Louise. So you say you're licensed to practice architecture in the state of New Jersey, correct?
That's correct.
And how long have you done that for?
I think it's about 20 years.
Okay, and have you testified before a planning board in the state of New Jersey before?
No.
Have you testified before any zoning boards before?
No, I have not. No.
Okay. Have you ever written any treatises or materials on architecture, or what is your specialty in architecture?
We do a lot of preservation at this firm on historic buildings, and that's becoming a specialty for me. We also do some federal work for courthouses in the general Mid-Atlantic region.
Okay. I would offer Mr. Chichester as an expert in architecture, please.
We accept your qualifications. And
Thank
did you say you're the project manager for this?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
All right, Charles, we have, if you could share your screen with the exhibits that we have, and we'll get those marked.
Yes.
Please.
Can you see that?
Almost. There we go.
Yes.
Okay. But this is the first floor plan or the lower level plan.
Why don't we mark?
Gary, can we mark this A2?
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charles, if you could just walk us through like you're doing
Yes.
and I cut you off,
Yes.
that would be terrific. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Just note that this plan is spun 180 degrees from the site plan. Prospect Street is planned south to the bottom of the page. So our addition is this corner here, kind of between this lower bar and the prep kitchen. And in the darker wall sections here, you can see our foundation that supports the floor above. And then again here, and then on this side here. And this is the storage room that was mentioned earlier, with two doors accessing this covered area here under the addition above. And then this is the vestibule for the dumbwaiter. And that vestibule links into the lower prep kitchen here. And one thing to note here, this lower area where loading will be coming through and into these doors, this area has a flat ceiling, and there are flush lights in this area. that provides lighting for this loading area. That's where there will be some spill of light coming out the sides, but those lights are recessed into the ceiling, and there's a soffit on each side here. So there's not direct light shining out, it's just spill.
And there are no lights mounted on the outside of the addition?
We're not adding anything here, no.
Good.
If I can, I'd like to go to the next floor. This is
Can
the
I ask
second.
you-
Yeah,
excuse me, can I ask you
sure.
anything
Yep.
else? What you say is spill. Do you have any idea how bright that really is?
I don't have the plan up right now, but we did submit a plan that showed the light levels as it proceeds out of here and as it goes towards the property lines, and it was minimal.
Because the environmental committee, and I'm not sure we're talking about the same fixture, says the lighting fixture for the loading area. Is that the lighting fixture for the loading area?
Yeah, those are the ceiling mounted flush lights.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the color temperature is no greater than 3000 K, is that?
We did see that recommendation, and we can look into that. There's a lot of options when you choose the exact fixture and how it's configured, but we will look into that recommendation.
Will we be notified of what you choose?
If I may for a minute, I think we can commit to, in speaking the other day with your partner, Charles, we talked about it, and I think that the lights that were recommended in the environmental report are items that we can commit to.
Good.
Good.
I hope. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the point being to meet
Right.
dark sky standards. That's really
Yeah.
really what we're getting at here. And whether it's, this number of lumens or that number of Ks, or I don't know, it needs to meet dark sky standards.
And
Is
you're
that
lucky
correct,
they're not
Freddie?
going
I mean,
straight- Yeah, and they're lucky and that's going straight up. It's coming
right,
out
right.
to help. And then
Yeah.
also, they said something about, do you have nighttime light there? Do you have things that come in at night? I mean, could you use a motion sensor? I don't even know if you have nighttime deliveries.
No, we don't. We don't.
Oh, okay. Well, that takes care of that.
So in terms of the condition, it will be in the executive summary bullet 1, it will be the sentence, the lighting fixture that has been chosen for the loading area should comply with dark sky international standards. That's sufficient, just to leave it at that?
Are you talking about page 2 on the environmental report, Jerry?
Yeah, yes, it's the second sentence of the first bullet.
EPA.
It's under the executive summary. I'm sorry, under the executive statement.
That's right. It says the lighting fixture that has been chosen for the loading area should comply with dark sky international. Reduce the color temperature to no greater than 3000 Kelvin.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay, we want both of those in. Okay. Okay.
Good. Thank you. Thanks for that, Jerry.
Yep. Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Chichester.
Okay, great. Moving to the second floor, you can see our addition coming off here in the dark line, joining from the existing dining room and coming around and then joining to the existing kitchen here. And this footprint that we saw below is the same on this floor. Now this area has a new dining space here, connecting through a cut in the wall here to the existing dining room. And some of the space of our addition is the, I'll zoom in a little bit here. This is the dumbwaiter vestibule again on this floor, and a dumbwaiter on the left here, and a pocket door leading into the dining room. And then also a passageway leading into the kitchen here. And then there's the servery here that is being extended a little bit here, a little bit more room, and then 2 pocket doors that lead from that servery addition into the dining room here.
Could you, I'm sorry for being so dense. Again, what is a servery? What's the difference between that and the dining area?
The servery is just where the food is put out for the students to take.
Oh, I see. I see. Oh, this is
Serve, you know, hot
Okay.
plates, you know.
Yep. Yep. Okay. It's buffet style. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. And Mr. Churches, as you go through this, these are all, it looks like, plans that you actually submitted to the planning department, correct?
These plans are slightly more advanced than the ones. The footprint is the same and the rooms are the same. We've just begun to add more detail and notes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then if you can, since we've had these marked, if you can get a copy of these to Mr. Lesko.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. All right. If I can, I'll move up to the next floor. This is the roof plan here. You can see the existing kitchen building here with that the shingles on it there. You can see an existing TV room here. And this existing TV room goes onto a corridor that links to some rooms on the top floor of the building. And then in this TV room, there's an existing window here that we have taken out, and then we've put in a door that will lead to the roof of our addition. The door will open out, you'll go down some steps here, and then you'll be on a slightly or a low slope roof. And the one thing to note is that because this is a TV room, this window was blacked out most of the time because they wanted, controlled light in that room. And when we put this door in, this is purely for maintenance of the rooftop units. We have one here and then that a chiller unit here. And that chiller unit is the one that was all the way down on the lower floor that we moved up to the roof. Now, we've tried to keep these units as far from the outer edge of this low slope roof as possible, but we still believe we're going to need some fall anchors. And that's what we're shown in these 2 little red dots here. Those are a place to tie off for fall protection. When doing any work on the roof, they'll probably need to access these drains here and here. But just to kind of reiterate, this door is locked, and the only key for that would be maintenance that would be able to access that roof.
And only with the key and only by maintenance, you're saying?
Yes, yes,
No,
yes.
no student access.
Okay.
And then if I can, I have some elevations to show here. Okay, on this top elevation is that corner where on the right side with these gabled roofs of the existing kitchen, and then the top floor in the background. And then our addition is here on the left. You can see these 2 windows there. And then below that, you can see that storage unit below with the double doors. Our flat roof here. And this is that stair that leads from our flat roof up into that door into the TV room. And then going down to the south elevation, this is our corner where we're filling in our addition. Existing dining room here. You come through the existing dining into this additional dining here. We do have some stone on our addition that should match existing. But here's the dining up above this loading zone down below. And you can see a little bit more of our stair railing system here in our HVAC unit here and our chiller unit here that was moved from down here.
Madam Chair, while this slides up, I'd just like to make a comment if you don't mind.
Please.
Yeah. We met with the folks from Cannondale Elm and Mills and Schnurring over the course of probably 2 years now to discuss this application. And it seems like they really did a phenomenal job of adding on to this historic building and meeting all of the Secretary of the Interior standards. And that is a big reason why the HPC chair and officer looking at this felt very comfortable not having to review it with the way that this is tucked away in a way that you hardly, if at all, can see from the street. And also it just meets all those standards of differentiating the materials, not mimicking existing historic features and things like that. So just want to say kudos to the architects and the applicant and thank you for reaching out to us early when you were looking at this project.
Thanks for that, Justin. So I just blew past our break time. I completely lost track of time. And are you just about done, Mr. Chichester, or do you have?
Those are the plans and the elevations I wanted to present.
Okay. Can you speak to the Environmental Commission's note about bird safe glass?
We will look into that. We do recognize that recommendation, and we will look into that.
Yeah, that as the years go by is a less and less comforting response.
But it's also very
nothing personal. I'm just saying
here. I'm going to double team you here, but it's also a very important issue to the Environmental Commission.
Yeah, so they had specific suggestions, and I'm not, I don't know enough about it to know one way or the other, but and I appreciate the interest in looking into it, but when it comes down to it, we'll need to know when we're putting in conditions whether you're willing to agree to do it or not. And similarly, the request to make sure that you install Energy Star appliances, which I think is actually required now, isn't it? With new construction, or am I wrong about that? Anyway, maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I think we had, again, when we talked about the Kelvin and the lights before the other day, I'm not as familiar with the bird safe glass, but I'm a big birder, I will tell you that. So I think that we're okay with that being a condition of their approval. So you can add that with the Kelvin question about the lighting as well.
Okay.
I don't think that I don't know enough, frankly, but I don't think it's a overburdensome ask. I mean, I think that Ms. Perlmutter, you may know better in terms of the actual application of it. But I don't think it's an overburdensome ask.
We don't have a lot of light, you don't have a lot of windows here, which is what helps.
Right.
One of the things which helps you, it's not a huge area, so it really shouldn't be that bad.
Right.
And it would be an improvement. We're actually not increasing the number of windows by much at all, because where the addition is going is covering up windows that were there. Essentially, that wall is being pushed out. So we're not adding much window space. So if we do accommodate the commission with some sort of striping or whatever is appropriate, that will be an improvement.
Yeah, and it's a southern-facing windows that tend to be the most prone to bird strikes, and so that'd be great. Yeah, thank you.
Put it in there.
Yeah, so as soon as you're finished, Mr. Chichester, we'll take a break before we do any of the final Q&A and hear from any members of the public that wish to speak. Freddie?
Yeah, one other thing, and that's the tree. Wonder if you can put it, we had suggested that you consider adding a shade tree on your front lawn. Is that possible?
We are planning a full horticultural plan. We've talked to a couple of what do we call them, consultants that do this work. Actually, one of our board members is in the business of yard renovations and so forth. So once we finish this and then raise a little more money, we do intend to do a full horticultural reworking of the property. So it's premature to speculate what that's going to involve, but we do have that in our plans as our next project.
Well, in your project, would you please consider putting a tree there?
I'm sorry, say again, Trey?
Yes.
I said in their next project, when they get to the horticultural, would they please consider putting a tree there?
Sure.
Or 5. You have a beautiful big front yard. I know that's not something, since it's really beyond the scope of this.
Yes.
I think it is a great suggestion. I mean, this board is very attentive to tree preservation and especially to native species and, the kind that really do support birds and pollinators. And of course, for people who live and visit, it's just a beautiful thing to look at. So
sure.
Well, we typically impose a condition in circumstances like this, which says the applicant has to prepare a landscape plan that's subject to the review and approval by either the board or the landscape subcommittee. And we can certainly qualify it so that they can phase that in over time, given what Mr. Fryer said, that they still need to raise money for that. But I would suggest we put in that kind of condition. It's not unusual for us. We do it all the time.
I would only object to it because it's outside this, in my opinion, outside the scope of the application, frankly. I think a commitment orally from the applicant is sufficient in this case. I mean, otherwise that could commit us to something that we don't either have budgeted for correctly currently, and we don't want to be in non-compliance with whatever approval we received tonight.
Right.
And
I said,
Justin?
When I said that, I'm thinking 3 to 5 years, and we can't have a condition that stretches that far, I don't think.
Well, the purpose of the tree, according to the Environmental Commission thing, is to offset emissions during construction. And I'm sure you're going to plan on constructing this.
Well, it'd have to be a pretty big tree to be planted.
I understand.
The construction is going to take place this summer.
Yeah, so that was the comment.
Okay, thanks, Freddie. Justin?
If I could add 2 comments to that. I know the club is on a tight deadline to get this started. So if we were to send them to the landscape committee, that would take a significant amount of time. That would affect their project. And secondly, the university, in cooperation with the Princeton Prospect Foundation, has been undergoing a process to add more trees immediately adjacent to Prospect Avenue. I don't know exactly where they stand with that, but they do intend to add it back to essentially what it was before the inexplicable reason to put red gravel out there. So that may alleviate. It'll be nice. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. No,
and it's really good to hear, Mr. Fryer, that the club is, looking to landscaping for the next phase of improvements,
right.
Because you can add a bunch of things that really do add a lot of value and in terms of habitat, and I'm
Yes,
sure that
no,
the
but-
students would appreciate it as well as.
Right. It just has to be done as part of a comprehensive plan. And as I say, that's a 3 to 5 year project.
Yeah.
We have to pay for this one first.
Understood.
Now, the one other point that the chair raised, it was a question of installing Energy Star certified appliances. Bob, where are you on that?
Well, again, you mean internally, like refrigerators and stuff like that we
Well,
do?
the appliances that
I mean-
you add as you do this addition, I'm not talking about elsewhere in the.
Yeah.
But internal,
club.
I was unaware that that was a requirement of a site plan application to have.
It's not. It was just a suggestion by the Environmental Commission.
I mean, I don't know that we've budgeted ordering them yet or what, but we certainly will take
Yes.
it under advisement, no question.
Okay.
I mean, Energy Star is not some, crazy super high bar. I mean, their Energy Star appliances are everywhere.
Yeah, and no doubt.
And they are much more energy efficient than others. So please, if you do add, fridges and freezers and that kind of thing, they really, just from a basic responsible citizen kind of perspective, should be Energy Star certified. Hi, Nat.
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Are you going to be mad at me about nitpicking right now?
No, I would never do that. But I did I did note that you had asked a question earlier about how much time was expected and whether we were going to have a break, and I feel like I'm
we need.
antsy to know the answer to that because I'm not sure whether we should be just concluding this or whether we're going to take a break and we have more to come. So
fair. Thank you. If Mr. Chichester is finished, and I think that we should take a break and then come back and have any further thoughts and go through conditions and hear any comments from members of the public, of which right now there is one. Okay. So thanks for the nudge, Nat. It's 9:44. Let's be back at 9:54. No later, please. And we'll see you then. Pick it up then. Thank you. Okay, I think we're waiting for Nat, Linda. Jack. Okay, let's get started again. Sorry, I'm looking across my screen for Mr. Casey. Who's next?
I have no one else, Madam Chair.
Okay, okay. Questions from board members for for Mr. Casey or any of his witnesses for the applicant? And anything from staff, Justin or Jim or Taylor, anything you want to bring to our attention before or questions you want to pose before we go to any public comment there might be?
Not from me, Madam Chair. I believe all the comments in the planner's report were addressed.
Yeah, I was just checking that as well. I think we got them all.
And the same here from engineering and zoning.
Okay, great. Well, we have one attendee. Sir, if you would like to address the board, you can virtually raise your hand right now. And I see that you are not doing that, so I will close the public hearing portion of this application and move on to final thoughts or comments, or if someone would like to. Well, Mr. Muller, do you want to go over the conditions that we've talked about tonight?
Yeah, why don't I go over everything? It'll be preliminary and final site plan approval. The two variances with respect to parking, the waivers that are, I think they're just submission waivers that are set forth on pages 1 and 2 of the memo by Jim and Derek. And then for the conditions, there's not going to be a heck of a lot. There's the typical condition about the applicant's engineer submitting a construction cost estimate. Then let's see what else. Use bird safe glass or film on windows to prevent bird strikes. Then they'll consider installing Energy Star certified appliances. The light fixture that has been chosen for the loading area, or that will be chosen, should comply with Dark Sky International standards. Reduce the color temperature to no more than 3,000. What's the case stand for?
It's a temperature.
Kelvin?
Kelvin.
Oh, Kelvin.
Yeah.
Kelvin.
I think that's it. That's all I have.
Okay. If there are no further questions or comments? Would someone like to make a motion to approve this applications with the conditions Mr. Mueller just articulated?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Schwimmer. Is there a second?
Happy to second.
Thank you, Claudia. Ms. Battle, would you call the roll, please?
Certainly. Mr. Buddingheimer,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Ms. Perlmutter,
Yes.
Ms. Swimmer,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson Anderson,
Yes.
Chair Wilson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. I thought that part would take longer. It usually does. And I apologize for my undisciplined approach to the break. I will try not to do that again. Thanks to all of you from Dial Elm Cannon, or Cannon Dial Elm, I thought it was.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that's right. And thank you, Madam Chair.
I'm reading your thing, Mr. Casey, and I thought, is that the right order? Anyway, thank you very much. Good luck with your project. I hope it all goes smoothly. And if there's no further business, our next meeting is March 5th. Several more ordinances, and
We have a meeting next Thursday for ordinances.
no. Well, on the 5th, I don't think we have we're not looking to schedule a special meeting, are we, Justin? No.
No, we're not.
Nope.
Just March 5th, our regular scheduled one.
Okay.
Yep.
And so since Councilman Cohen is not here to do his usual end of meeting job, I'm going to assert executive privilege and move to adjourn. Is there a second? All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. Thanks very much, everybody. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you.
all very much. Thanks to the
Very well.
Princeton professionals too. I appreciate it. I know you guys are understaffed and you guys do a great job, so I appreciate it greatly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Casey.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
Night.